You're watching Oklahoma's News 4 at 10.
A soggy and somber evening tonight as our state mourns the loss of 2 airmen who died during a routine training exercise this morning in Enid.
Officials at Vance Air Force Base say they've have about 1,000 planes landing there each and every day. But on this day, something went tragically wrong. News 4's Peyton Yeager live with the latest. And Peyton, the investigation is really only just beginning, so have they even cleared the wreckage away yet?
No, Kevin. Investigators trying to preserve the scene as much as they can, closing operations through at least the weekend. Base officials tell me their #1 priority is taking care of the families of the pilots and the community here in Enid. In Enid, the sound of plane engines overhead is a given.
There's no textbook on how to handle this.
But Thursday, the skies surrounding Vance Air Force Base are quiet. All operations shut down until further notice after a training flight involving at least 2 T-38 Talons went horribly wrong.
I have family of my own in the military, and my boyfriend's family is directly involved in the Air Force and was here at Vance years ago, so it definitely hits home for me.
2 pilots killed during landing, the wreckage lying upside down, the plane's nose broken in half. The crew inside the second plane survived without injury, a small miracle in a situation that officials say is sending a shockwave through the community.
We are a close-knit family, and when tragedies like this occur, every member of the U.S. Armed Forces, Vance, Enid, feels it.
Just miles off the base sits Blue Jays Barber Shop, a notable spot for airmen in town. Owner Josh Ward stunned.
You know, I just hope that they figure out what happened, and yeah, it's definitely heartbreaking for sure.
Vance sees nearly 1,000 landings a day, leaving this flyover town in a state of grief.
To really give up everything just to serve, and it won't be forgotten, and it's worth something.
The 71st Flying Training Wing will release the names of the fallen airmen on Friday. All they can say is it's probably a young man and his superior.
We cherish your thoughts and your prayers in these days and the days ahead.
Now, today's tragedy, the first training death here at Vance since the year 2000, and the investigation could last up to 2 months. Live in Enid, Peyton Yeager, Oklahoma's News 4.
All right, Peyton, thank you very much. We'll look for your updates. Governor Kevin Stitt also reacting to the news tonight. Quote, "We are saddened by the tragic news of the loss of life of 2 pilots at Vance Air Force Base this morning. My thoughts and prayers are with the pilots' families and the team at Vance."
Meanwhile, this is not the first crash involving an Air Force T-38 Talon from Vance. You may remember back in August 2018, a pilot forced to eject himself during a training mission near the town of Mutual after a bird flew into the engine. The pilot in that incident was not hurt.
Now, first weather from the Forewarned Storm Team.
It is a chilly, breezy, and damp night across Oklahoma tonight. Temperatures are still drifting down through the 40s and the 30s in many parts of Oklahoma. Let's take a look outside, and there's the view from Rose State showing the drizzle and the cold temperatures. Wind chill factors are in the very low 30s and high 20s now in the metro. We're 41 degrees, so we're still quite a bit above freezing. It's dropping down to the mid-30s, though, in northwestern Oklahoma and our panhandle, and temperatures will continue to slowly trail off tonight. Scattered drizzle in the metro right now, scattered drizzle and light showers in northern Oklahoma right now, and some thunder showers down in Greer and Jackson and Tillman counties. Coming into Kiowa County, a much heavier band of heavier showers and embedded thunderstorms now. This is the main upper level disturbance coming out of the eastern Texas panhandle toward western Oklahoma. So you folks out west will get a brief but decent drink of water out of this, and the northern part of this is actually some snow. It is snowing now in the Oklahoma panhandle, Guyman over to near Beaver, and that's all tracking to the northeast. A winter weather advisory in effect for our central and western Oklahoma panhandle counties. What that means for the morning drive and who sees snow, that forecast coming up.
See you then, my friend. Thank you. And we have breaking news coming from our D.C. Bureau in the last few hours. House Democrats say they have enough evidence to move forward on the impeachment of President Donald Trump. That development coming late today after the president's former top Russia advisor described several key moments, including when she confronted Ambassador Gordon Sondland, a wealthy donor to President Trump. She also spared no prisoners, even taking aim at the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani.
I actually said to him, "Who put you in charge of Ukraine?" And, I'll admit I was a bit rude. And that's when he told me the president would shut me up. He was being involved in a domestic political errand. And we were being involved in national security foreign policy. And those two things had just diverged. He then, in the course of that discussion, said that Rudy Giuliani was a hand grenade that was going to blow everyone up.
And for what's next, sources on Capitol Hill say there will likely be a vote in the House on whether or not to impeach President Trump. That will likely happen in the next few weeks. Meanwhile, the public hearings in the impeachment inquiry phase are now complete, meaning Intelligence Committee staff will now be drafting a report laying out their findings. Those findings will then go to the House Judiciary Committee, and there may be additional public hearings during that process as well. We'll be sure to keep you posted.
And back here at home, a 38-year-old Oklahoma man on the run, accused of manipulating a young teenage girl into having sex with him. News 4's Jacqueline Chappell on the Night Beat. Jacqueline.
Joleen, that mom tells us that at times she would leave her daughter alone with Harold, but had no idea of the horrible abuse that he was inflicting on her daughter.
A Hennessy mother says this man, 38-year-old Justin Harrell, raped her teenage daughter on multiple occasions. Telling News 4, quote, "I feel very guilty. I should have never brought him around my kids." We have concealed the mother's identity to keep from identifying her daughter, the victim. The mom only finding out after her daughter reported it to school officials. The teen telling them Harrell had sex with her 4 times in August. According to the affidavit, the victim said during one instance, the two had gone to the Hennessy Library, then left to go for a ride in the country. Harrell allegedly telling the girl he would get in trouble if she told on him before the two had sex. And during another incident, she said she tried to leave, and he pulled her by her hair and said he'd take a belt to her if she tried it again. The girl said Harrell also made her watch porn with him. She said he had 2 phones and one had an app that looked like a calculator, but actually went to a porn site if you put in a passcode. The victim's mother telling News 4 her daughter didn't understand what was happening to her. She says Harrell made her daughter believe he loved her and wanted to be with her. After the reports, the victim was given a SANE exam and 2 indications of sexual activity were found. The mother saying now she just hopes Harrell is found and that he won't be able to do this to another innocent victim.
And that photo of Harrell used in the story was from a previous arrest. As of this afternoon, Kingfisher County Jail says he has not been arrested. And according to the affidavit, Harrell is wanted for 2 different rape charges.
Happening tomorrow, a man convicted of killing an Oklahoma police officer will learn his fate on whether he'll live or die. It was back in 2017 during that traffic stop. Rookie Tecumseh police officer Justin Turney was shot and killed during a routine traffic stop. A jury convicted that man, Byron Shepard, on Monday. He's facing the death penalty, but his attorney spent the last 2 days trying to convince the jury that he's still dealing from issues stemming from childhood drama and abuse. Closing arguments will begin in the morning. The jury will make their decision after that.
A rude awakening for more than 50 people in Tulsa. Police telling folks if they have a storage unit at the Quality Storage there, it's likely been ransacked. Fences cut, torn down, garage doors hoisted up, and people's precious belongings, including books, paperwork, furniture, left to sit out in the rain. At least 50 units looted, and officials say it's most likely been going on for weeks. They also say most of these victims are not even aware that the items they've been paying to keep safe are long gone. So far, no arrests have been made. Also on Crime Watch, a bizarre international drug ring involving Germany, the dark web, and the now former owner of the chicken fried food truck. This man, Jeremy Singer, has been on our newscast before. Almost a year ago, he was busted for allegedly handing out free joints to the homeless. But today he was sentenced to 70 months in federal prison for smuggling ecstasy into the U.S. Singer pleaded guilty, saying he bought the drugs from a German supplier on the dark web and had it shipped right to his home. A package full of pills was intercepted by customs, and instead of a UPS driver, undercover agents with Homeland Security showed up at his door.
And now we go to Ogle because that is where a school student has been kicked out of class for handing out pot-laced gummies to his or her classmates. We're not sure about the student, but the cannabis candy was apparently handed out on an Ogle public school bus. Fortunately, no students reported having any side effects, but it's not clear how much candy was passed out and how many students ate it. School officials say the kid in question has been expelled. Now, this incident comes exactly 1 week after a similar situation happened at F.D. Moon Middle School here in Oklahoma City. In that case, paramedics treated 2 students who did become ill after eating the pot-laced gummies. Mother Nature's never-ending roller coaster ride continues.
Some may wake up under a blanket of snow tomorrow morning, Mike.
Yeah, just a bit of snow now starting to push in to northwestern Oklahoma. And what about our Friday morning drive here in the metro? We'll talk about that. It's getting pretty chilly outside, and I've got changes also for your weekend. That's next.
And how genetic DNA test and a discovery of Grand Rapids, Michigan cracked the case of an Oklahoma woman who hasn't been seen or heard from since 1988. That's next.
You're watching Oklahoma's News 4 at 10 with Joleen Chaney, Kevin Ogle, Mike Morgan, and Brian Brinkley. Oklahoma's News 4, looking out for you.
It's a mystery that's plagued 2 states for more than 3 decades. In Michigan, skeletal remains with no name. And in Oklahoma, a 28-year-old woman who hadn't been seen or heard from since 1988. News 4's Kate Smith has more on how a genealogy test cracked the case.
Yeah, Joleen, you know those websites where you send in DNA to trace your family tree? Police are now calling it a game changer, the best new investigative tool since fingerprints and DNA.
15 to 20-year-old women don't just go out by the roadside and die.
A cold case since 1988.
It's possible, for example, that she was strangled. It's possible that maybe her throat was cut and no bones were involved by the knife. Possible that she died of a drug overdose.
For 30 years, she has been a sketch, a forensic artist's creation. Not anymore. The secret hidden in Michigan woods, finally revealed. Her name, Maria White Bateman, a 28-year-old woman reported missing from Oklahoma City.
We did everything we could on those remains through the years.
And finally, a break. Working with the nonprofit DNA Doe Project, investigators submitted a femur bone from the remains, running it through a DNA database of genealogy from people tracing their roots. After 30 years, it took just 5 weeks to get a match. Police confirming the results through additional testing of Bateman's family members here in the metro, who filed a missing person report more than 3 decades ago.
It sounded like she had a lifestyle in which she was living on the street a little bit and somewhat transient. So the fact that we have an individual from Oklahoma City that made it up to Michigan could be explained in that way.
State police have not yet determined if Bateman was murdered, but her ID, of course, is a critical step forward, and her family's peace of mind priceless. Bateman's ID could just be the start. However, some have expressed concern over police using DNA profiles from ancestry kits that weren't originally created to solve crimes.
All right, Kate, thank you very much. And this guy's had a lot going on today.
Well, there's some cold rain out there and even a bit of snow for the Panhandle right now. Some folks will see a bit of snow in the morning. The metro, no chance of any ice though for your morning drive. So that's good. Let's get that very clear. But it may be damp though, the way it's looking. Let's go ahead and take a look as we check out the view from Rose State College. And yes, it's chilly and it's damp, drizzle outside, and wind chill factors are dropping into the low 30s and upper 20s right now. We're 41 degrees, so we're comfortably above freezing. That's good. And the winds from the north at 15. Metro temperatures from 39 in Alva and Weatherford to 43 in Shawnee, Chandler, and Norman. The cold front, which came through the metro at sunrise, is now in far southeastern Oklahoma. It's dropping closer to freezing around Woodward with 34 and 34 in Guymon right now. Thick drizzle outside in much of the metro, and some showers will come back in later tonight. Showers do continue in northern Oklahoma right now. Helena, Goltree, Jet Nash, Medford, Pond Creek, Nardin, and then some thunder showers down here in Kiowa County near Cooperton and Hobart, Roosevelt down to Snyder, and they're filling in down in Harmon County, the Hollis area, El Dorado. Those are ahead of an upper level disturbance, which is now pressing through the eastern Texas Panhandle, a fast moving line of showers and embedded thunderstorms here. Rainfall amounts are low with these because the line's moving very quickly, but a quick 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 inch of rainfall, and that's coming into western Oklahoma right now. So that'll be welcomed moisture for the western parts of our state, and the northern part of this is snow in Texas and Beaver counties in our panhandle, and mixing with some snow out around Spearman and Perrington, Texas. Again, this is the main upper level disturbance here. Also snow north of Wichita right now, up around McPherson and Heston, Kansas. Motion here is northeasterly at 40 miles per hour. The main upper level disturbance now very quickly approaching from New Mexico and eastern Arizona. Very heavy snows out here in the ski resorts around Santa Fe and Taos, Angel Fire, Red River. Snow up around Flagstaff, even snow in the mountains of southern Arizona and the mountains around Las Vegas earlier today. Travelers advisories are in effect for our 2 central and western panhandle counties, as well as the northwest Texas panhandle for snow tonight. So here's future weather. You see the snow there tonight. It does track across northwest Oklahoma. Temperatures will be hovering right around 32 to 33 when it's snowing. So some grassy accumulations look likely up in Harper County, Woods County, maybe even Woodward County, and some cold rain tonight here in Oklahoma City. Here's another look at that as the snow tonight travels across northwest Oklahoma. It won't last very long, but it may briefly be moderate in intensity around midnight. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, and then by midday tomorrow, all that moisture's gone, but the rest of the day stays cloudy, and it will be very chilly with a north wind. Kind of a raw day tomorrow. The morning drive does look wet. So future precipitation totals here from 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch in bands coming through western Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma, and perhaps 1/10 of an inch or a little bit more tonight later in Oklahoma City. But again, around 35 for our low temperature, so we stay above freezing in the metro. The central and western panhandle, 1 to 3 inches of snow, and a few areas may get 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 inch of grassy accumulations in northwest Oklahoma as that snow comes on out around Buffalo, Woodward, and Alva later tonight. 35 here in Oklahoma City, north winds, wind chill factors in the mid-20s, so plenty cold in the morning, but again, wet and not icy for the metro. There may be a few snowflakes mixed in this peach color from Clinton through Enid and Watonga up through Ponca City, and that burst of snow tonight in far northwest Oklahoma. And for tomorrow, the precipitation, the rain ends in Oklahoma City no later than mid-morning. The rest of the day will be cloudy with a pretty brisk north wind, only 38 for a daytime high. So this will be morning light snow ending in northern Oklahoma and morning light rain ending in Oklahoma City. The rest of the day cloudy and very chilly, 30s and 40s for highs. And on Saturday, good news for your weekend, 53 here, brilliant sunshine Saturday with light winds, and light winds on Sunday. Brilliant sunshine as well, and 61 degrees. That's pretty good considering that it's so winter-like out there right now. The weekend does look nice. 53 and 61. Brilliant sunshine, chilly for the Sooner game, but otherwise it'll be nice. Next cold front late Monday night into Tuesday morning, 30% chance of showers there. And then we'll head toward Thanksgiving, a high temperature in the upper 40s to around 50. And there might be a storm system coming out at about that time, so it might be damp for Thanksgiving. Black Friday, 65, and then chillier weather the weekend after this one. Busy, active weather pattern. It's kind of tough to track all that stuff through 11 days.
Well, you do a good job of it, brother.
So we'll keep you forewarned in the morning for sure.
No, you
All right,
will. Thank you.
you.
And when you wake up in the morning, get your first forecast. Your forewarned in the morning's what we call it with Damien and Emily.
Coming up, an emotional day for football in our state.
Man, both the Sooners and Cowboys lose prominent and important players. The shocking announcements next.
Now, sports with Dylan Buckingham.
OU tight end Grant Calcaterra has missed the last 5 games, and tonight we found out why. Because of concussions, and because of that, Calcaterra is retiring from football and the program. The junior said it was part of God's plan and is looking forward to life after playing.
I plan on pursuing a career that is as similar to football as possible. The impulsiveness, teamwork, leadership, camaraderie, and most importantly, being a part of something that is bigger than myself is all I want in a career. I plan on returning home to Southern California and becoming a firefighter. To Sooner Nation and everyone who's been a part of my football journey, I thank you again so much.
Best of luck to him, no doubt. Meanwhile, more bad news. Sources tell News 4 OSU quarterback Spencer Sanders underwent thumb surgery this week. The Oklahoman reports that Sanders will miss at least the rest of the regular season. OSU is expected to turn to Drew Brown against West Virginia, and of course, will be there. Maryland Eastern Shore, one of the worst teams in Division I basketball, taking on Oklahoma first half. Brady Manick, and he's showing you why they are. That's a nice slam dunk from him. Sooners actually trailed at the half in this. Manick had 16, but in the second, OU pulls away. Christian Doolittle didn't miss a shot tonight. 7 of 7, had a game-high 18 points. And then look how Victor Iwakourse closes out. Look, ball one hand, 91-64. Sooners remain unbeaten, taking down Maryland Eastern Shore. Each made their name on the gridiron, then made a difference in their communities. That's why the Oklahoma Hall of Fame has enshrined both J.C. Watts and Steve Largent. While each were honored to play the game and serve, they're also honored to be a part of Oklahoma history.
Been a part of some things that never in the wildest dreams of a kid growing up on the east side of the railroad tracks in Eufaula, Oklahoma, that I ever think I'd be able to do. As former Governor George Nye used to say, I've heard him speak many times, and he says, you can do it from here. So you can do it from Eufaula, you can do it from Oklahoma City, you can do it from Godibo, and I hope that I've been some encouragement to kids in Oklahoma that you can.
It was an honor to play football, and I loved playing it for 14 years, and it was really a big honor to be sent to Congress and trying to represent the people of the 1st Congressional District. So it's been, I pinch myself all the time to see if it's really a dream.
Congratulations to all the inductees. We're back with more right after this.
Welcome back. A little snow up around the Woodward area tonight, but all liquid here in Oklahoma City, but more showers do come through later tonight. 35 for your morning drive, likely wet. That'll end by mid-morning 38, and then a much better weekend. Brilliant sunshine both days, 53 and a 61 on Sunday. Our next system comes up Tuesday, and then again right around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Good night.